What is this thing I found buried in the back of a pharmacy warehouse? Sealed with some sort of polyester, probably 100+ years old. It's adjustable, and the inner diameter is only about 1.25 inches. I'm just wondering specifically what this little thing was used for. It's a Spatoria Ring. It was used in the late 1800s to prevent wet dreams in children. It's pretty horrifying just to look at. And I can't imagine any parent deliberately inflicting this on their child. This was related to a practice called onanism. The idea is that spilling your seed is a great sin against God. Parents believed that wet dreams would lead to weak and sickly children. They were listening to their doctors who told them that their child had a disease, and that this would cure them of an affliction that threatened their very lives. The idea is that when an erection occurs, the spikes will cause enough pain to awaken the wearer. Once you're awake, what could have turned into a wet dream has been averted. Some other manufacturers made devices like the urethral ring that were much crueler than this one, with sharp needles that could directly penetrate the skin. The 1800s were completely crazy. I found this at my internship, and they asked if I could guess what it is. It's a small metal plate with a hole in the middle, and it fits perfectly in the leather pouch. It's too thick to be a blade, and it doesn't have anything written on it. It's not the same on both sides, and the back has a small rectangular shape that sticks out. They're cleaning out stuff and he found it lying around. He just said he got it from somewhere around the 1980s. Does anybody know what this is? It's a Wicker electronic key. Wicker was an all-electric car-sharing service that was launched in Amsterdam in 1974. Even the design in the flat part looks like the company logo. It had a top speed of only 19 miles per hour and a range of just over 9 miles, which came down to about 30 minutes of driving. Wicker and its 5 stations continued to operate until the autumn of 1986, and on the 27th of October, the Wicker Cooperative Company cancelled its activities, and within 3 days the distinctive white mobile pods had disappeared from Amsterdam's city centre. I found these miniature metal ships at a garage sale. They are British warships around 3 inches long. A few of them have writings under them that say Hermes and Pilot. I just can't figure out if they are toys or collectibles, and I can't find anything about them anywhere on the internet. Any ideas are appreciated. They are the first spin-cast lead model ships made in Germany by 2 hobbyists, Friedrich Peltzer and Henning Kortzen, in the early 1930s, under the Viking and Pilot labels. In the early 1900s, the hobby of small-scale ship model collecting was born. I work in museums and we have a set of these that were recovered from a sunken U-boat after 50 years underwater. So we know for a fact that little recognition models were carried aboard Kriegsmarine U-boats. Ours are a mix of German and British warships, made of both metal and plastic. Yours look a bit less detailed, so presumably weren't for military use, but the name stamp on the bottom is identical, besides being Pilot and not Viking. What is this, some kind of Goosebow Planter I bought at an estate sale in California? It's almost like a wine barrel, and the head actually makes a very nice handle. It's only 6 inches deep and 15 inches in diameter, so not a super common indoor plant size. By the way, her name is Fanny Cat, but she does have a sweet mask. Does anyone know what this would have been originally used for? This is a Chinese rosewood basin traditionally used to bathe newborns from the late 1800s up through the early 20th century. The open wings form the outer edges of the basin, and it is designed and constructed to be held by the beak. These were also used in villages in southern China as laundry baskets. The neck of the bird would easily rest on a woman's arm when she carried a load of laundry to the river. What is this drill hammer thing? I saw this thing in a machinist group, and it looks like a Jacob's chuck on the left side, but no clue what it is. I suspect it is some kind of boiler drill for drilling big holes in tight spaces, but only a guess. Any idea what this could be? It's a glass cutter, invented by George A. Phillip of Fort Smith, Arkansas, and patented on May 17, 1949. They're basically a diamond cutter and a head that can tilt and rotate while riding up against a straightedge down the sheet of glass, so the user can change their grip and position, while still keeping the cutter pressed against the straightedge to guide it, and with a long handle so they can reach the full length of the glass. What is this heavy ironish material my landlord found in the basement? The base is solid metal, and the top is also metal. Google isn't responding well to scary wands or aggressive pleasure instruments. It seems very old and has no markings on it anywhere. What is it for? It's a soldering iron with a twisted heavy wire body and a missing handle. The end you are holding is the head, and is usually copper. The other end would normally have a wooden handle. This thing dates back to the 1800s before electric power. The iron was heated in a furnace repeatedly in order to get the work done. The wooden handle must have fallen off or rotted away in the basement. I found this World War I bomb in France today. I only lifted the shell and put it back down. I did not let anything touch the fuse, but still, it might have been a dumb decision. It was at the surface, and if you go digging in World War I areas, you will 100% find an unstable bomb. Does anyone know what type of bomb this is? It's a World War I star shell. It probably broke off on impact and did not detonate. It was used to illuminate the battlefield at night. Rather than a high explosive, the shell carries a very bright flare that is attached to a parachute. At the peak of its arc of flight, a small charge kicks the flare out of the shell. The flare slowly descends while lighting up an area beneath it. I think the term star shell was used primarily by naval forces, and I think the ground forces used the term flare or perhaps flare shell. Many of these rounds were fired by mortars rather than field artillery. What is this thing I found in my grandfather's home? No one in the family knows what it is. He spent 20 years in the Marine Corps from 1955 to 75. My guess is mortar round. It seems to be live and no evidence of being drilled out. Any ideas? It's a World War II Japanese Type 89 mortar round, never fired due to the banding not having rifling on it. The pin can deteriorate, so seriously don't drop it on the tip or let it bounce around the bed of your truck. I would advise that you immediately contact your local authorities to report an unexploded ordnance hazard. I know these are medical devices, but for what kind of surgery? I found this in a thrift store in Bern, Switzerland. I had no idea what it was used for, but seems to be surgery equipment. The shopkeeper had no idea either, but on the wooden box was written 1898. The price tag was $3,200. I didn't buy it. I just took a couple of pictures. Does anyone know what type of surgery these were used for? Please tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.